What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Outpost and GeeksandGamers.com. Today I'm here to talk to you about, guess what, another expanded universe character. Now this one I chose because one, I think she's awesome, but two, she's been in the news recently because it seems like every time there's an upcoming Disney Star Wars project, her name gets brought up. This time it was about some fake news, and I'm talking about Mara Jade. Now there was some fake news earlier that Mara Jade's name appeared somewhere in Galaxy's Edge. That was squashed by the Lucasfilm Story Group. It was fake, whoever made it up. But it really did go to show you how far and fast that news spread. Because that's how much people care about these characters. Whether they want them brought in a new canon or they're like me and they want these legacies and these characters to remain firmly in the expanded universe, it's clear that people care about these characters. Now, after this video, I'm going to talk about something, if you've been liking these expanded universe videos, something you might be interested in, a way to potentially get more of the stories that we love. But first, let's talk about this great character, and that's Mara Jade. 17 years before the Battle of Yavin, Mara Jade was born when Darth Sidious and Darth Vader were solidifying their stranglehold on the galaxy, wiping out the remnants of the Jedi. Realizing the girl was Force-sensitive, Emperor Palpatine took her from her home, taking her into the Imperial Palace. Assumed to be a dancer in the palace, Mara Jade was trained by the Emperor in the ways of the Force, as well as in combat, espionage, and assassination skills, and was anointed one of the Emperor's hands. With a deep mental connection to Palpatine, Mara could hear his voice anywhere in the galaxy, and she carried out his will. Behind the scenes, covertly doing his bidding, and sometimes that of Lord Vader's, Mara performed numerous missions, including capture, sabotage, assassinations, extortion, and even spying on Darth Vader himself at the request of Palpatine. She became an expert in all forms of weaponry. Despite her upbringing at the hands of the Sith Lord, Mara maintained a warm and even, at times, merciful personality, specifically when taking an action or sparing a life would benefit the greater good. For example, when running across a group of stormtroopers gone rogue, known as the Hand of Judgment, instead of arresting or executing them, she worked with them, realizing that their altruistic work was an overall benefit to the Empire. Following the Battle of Hoth and subsequent capture of Han Solo, Palpatine made his concerns about Luke Skywalker known. Mara was sent to Jabba the Hutt's palace to infiltrate and wait for Skywalker. Disguised as one of Jabba's dancers, she was there when Skywalker arrived, but was spurned by a suspicious Jabba when she attempted to go to the Pit of Carkoon, where she could have ensured Luke's execution. On assignment during the Battle of Endor, Palpatine suddenly used his telepathic link to allow her to witness his death at the hands of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. His last, forceful command to her was, "You will kill Luke Skywalker." With her link, she could feel the agony of Palpatine's death and was overwhelmed, her world shattered. The Emperor's last command fueled a rage deep inside against Skywalker, and with nothing left to keep her loyal to the fragmented Empire, she went on the run, drifting across the galaxy for the next several years. Her Force abilities began to fade, inexplicably coming back in random bursts. She eventually found a home in the organization of Talon Karrde, an intelligent smuggler. During Grand Admiral Thrawn's reign, Jade's random Force abilities helped her happen upon a stranded Skywalker. Although Jade was intent on finally killing him, Karrde had other plans. She had become incredibly loyal to Karrde, so Mara obeyed. Mara and Luke ended up stranded together in the jungle of Merkur, completely devoid of the Force due to his Salamiri, and were forced to rely on each other to survive. Her opinion of Luke begrudgingly began to change. After Karrde was captured, Jade was forced to come to Skywalker for his help, which he gave without any hesitation, despite her still ill feelings toward him. She gradually realized that Palpatine's last command was being used as a final revenge against Vader for turning against him, but she still couldn't break the mental barrier. In a confrontation with the insane Dark Jedi, Jorus Sabaoth, and his twisted clone of Luke Skywalker, she was the one to kill both of them, finally fulfilling that command to kill Luke by slaying his clone. Her and Skywalker forged a lasting friendship after that. She kept up her smuggling life, but having her life changed by Luke and forsaking the dark side, she began training in the ways of the Force again, spending time at Luke's Jedi Praxium, as well as training with Kyle Katarn. It became apparent that she and Skywalker had a clear connection, but she remained firmly committed to Karrde and her smuggling life, while he was committed to the Jedi Order. Years later, while investigating strange ships, she made her way into Chiss space, where she was joined by Luke, who had a vision of her near death. Together, they fought their way through Chiss forces, discovering the Empire of the Hand, a group of Thrawn loyalists on the edge of the unknown regions. It was here, at the edge of the galaxy, surrounded by enemies and under fire, that Luke finally declared what they both had known. He loved her fiercely, and she loved him. They somehow managed to escape, and wasted no time in getting married, in private, before having a more formal ceremony in front of family, friends, and dignitaries. Finally giving up on her alliance with Card, fully committing herself to her marriage and her Jedi knighthood. She also officially took an apprentice, her niece, Jaina Solo. But around 25 years after the Battle of Yavin, a mysterious illness began to affect her, introduced to her by the Yuzong Vong agent, Numenor. This disease killed every other person who contracted it, but Mara's strength in the Force and sheer willpower was keeping her alive, though it sometimes seemed a losing battle. She was the first Jedi to encounter a Yuzong Vong warrior, barely slaying her opponent. It was the beginning of a bloody campaign across the galaxy, and mental struggle for Mara as her disease continued to impede her. The defector Vergier provided Mara with an unexpected gift, a temporary relief from the illness. She trusted the alien and consumed the antidote, and her disease went into remission. But the threat of it remained. It was during this remission she discovered she was expecting her and Luke's child. With the stress on her body, her disease began to return. Putting all of her Force effort into protecting her unborn child, the disease began to rapidly take over her body during the late stages of pregnancy. In labor and on her deathbed, it took the combined power generated by pure love between Luke, Mara, and their unborn child to purge this illness from her. And their baby was born, named Ben Skywalker. Through the rest of the war, Mara was fiercely dedicated to motherhood, but was still on the front lines when the galaxy needed her. She played a critical role in the final defeat of the Yuzong Vong, defeating Numenor, the invader who had nearly taken everything from her. Post-war, her duties continued to be Jedi and family. She worried about Ben, with the child having seemingly cut himself off from the Force for reasons unknown to his parents. During the Dark Nest crisis, she begrudgingly allowed Jacen Solo to take the role of mentor for Ben, since he seemed to have successes where others did not, despite his questionable methods. But Ben was progressing, becoming a strong Force user in his own right, and at the beginning of the Second Galactic Civil War, Mara was one of the only members of the Skywalker Solo clan to give Jacen her full support. Unbeknownst to her, Jacen had been under the tutelage of the Sith Lady Lumaya, and was on the path to becoming Darth Caedus. Discovering Lumaya was a threat, she and Luke attempted to hunt her down, but could never finish the job. All the while, Jacen was slowly grooming Ben Skywalker to become his potential Sith apprentice. Mara mistakenly thought that Lumaya was out to kill Ben as some sort of revenge, and she decided to hunt her herself, just like she had in her Emperor's Hand days. Learning that Jacen and Lumaya had been in contact, she confronted Jacen in an attempt to sway him back to the light, but it was too late. She realized he had to be stopped. The fight between Jacen and Mara was a brutal one, both of them holding back nothing, each fighting for what was most important to them. The fight was nearly ended with Mara as the victor, until an illusion by Jacen caused her to hesitate a fraction of a second, allowing Jacen to poison her. Her final words to Jacen proclaimed that he'd become more warped than even Palpatine, and that Luke would strike him down. Her last living acts were to whisper goodbye in Ben's mind, and to ruffle her husband's hair one last time. She didn't become one with the Force until her funeral, when Jacen approached, hoping to give the others a clue as to who did it. Her son Ben grasped the meaning. He would go on to prove definitively that it was Jacen, giving his family the closure and justification for ending Jacen's reign, now known as Darth Caedus. She would eventually appear as a Force ghost to her husband, comforting him in his grief. Mara's death, though tragic, brought her son and husband closer together than they ever had been before. Her legacy is one of redemption, dedication, family, and ultimately, sacrifice. She will forever be a fan-favorite character due to her wit, her attitude, and her being the perfect match to Luke Skywalker. Mara Jade is one of those characters from the expanded universe that people always get so excited about. She's definitely a fan favorite. And one thing about Mara Jade is that she did have a complete story arc. You know, she had an ending. But unfortunately, the same can't be said for a lot of the other characters in the Star Wars expanded universe. We don't know eventually, what happens to Luke, what happens to Han, what happens to Leia, what happens to all of their children, where they end up. Because the expanded universe got decanonized and stopped. But there is hope to change that. With the release of Marvel 108 under a Legends banner, it's clear that there is some people that are willing to listen at Lucasfilms when people say we want more expanded universe or Legends material. And there's another way that everyone out there can help spread that word. Back in 2016, there was a billboard put up right outside Lucasfilm that said, "Hey, we would love it if you would continue the Star Wars Expanded Universe, now known as Legends." And Lucasfilm paid attention and made a lot of news. And they said, you know what, after we're done with the sequel trilogy, we will see. They wanted to focus on their stuff. Well, now, all the people that wanted the Star Wars Expanded Universe then, we are still here. And we're still here to tell Disney that we want more Star Wars Expanded Universe. We want these stories continued. If you're interested in being part of this project, it can be found at Twin Suns Foundation. They're a nonprofit organization, and they're going to be putting up 2 billboards. They're going to go up in January, just a little bit after Rise of Skywalker's been in theaters. And it's going to get a lot of attention. The people at Lucasfilm are going to see that even all these years later, the love for it hasn't died off. If anything, it's increasing. People want more of these stories. So I encourage you to go check them out. If you can't donate or don't wish to donate, if you could at least share the video and share the link will be down in the pinned comments or in the description of the video. I think it's a really great way to help get some more of the Star Wars that we all love. But either way, thank you guys for listening so much. What did you think about Mara Jade Skywalker? Are you interested in reading more about her? Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, let us know your feelings in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later.